Okay, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of October the 3rd, 2025. Mars Chronicles, Chapter 21, The Sorrows of Young Itall, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gunham, and the greatly desired sequels. I'm your host, Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado, or maybe southwest of Denver, Colorado. And with me is Lee, and he's south of Colorado Springs, Colorado. How's it going, Lee?
Going pretty good so far.
Cool. So anyway, yeah, and I did it again, Lee. Look at that. There. Now, how's it going, Lee? No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I invited some other people too, kind of last minute. You guys all know that I went to LA to see the advanced screening of Play Dirty, and man, it's great. When you guys need to go over to Prime, Amazon Prime, and watch that. And if you have the subscription. But anyway, I guess who just showed up from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia is Angelus. How's it going, Angelus?
Angelus is being his usual Angeli self.
Angelic, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you don't have any reason to be angelic because we didn't know that Rosa was going to show up, and she didn't, but that's okay. She's
technically you still got to see her, from my understanding.
Yes, we certainly we saw her in the movie, and she was great. And any movie Mark Wahlberg is in, it seems to be a good movie, but she made it better. She has a pretty wild part, for her. She really knocked it out of the park. But we also
knocked us out of the park right at the beginning, but we won't mention that.
Well, yeah, she did. But I mean, then we went to the the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures the next day. Charlie and I did, and that was great. That's really interesting, that thing. And we saw the virtual reality presentation Rosa made for Cyberpunk. And it's really wild. She takes you through everything they do when they make, a movie using technology and stuff like that. And it's almost like she's there, almost. It's not quite, of course. But, yeah, she took us through all of the, I forget how long the video is. It's not real long, but anyway, we saw that and enjoyed it, and then just went through the museum and that sort of thing, and that was a lot of fun as well. So anyway, a pretty good 2 days there in LA. We had a lot of fun, Charlie and I, and it wasn't a wasted trip, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So how are things down under there, Angelus?
Well, I'm at work, so I won't be sticking around for too long, but I'll be able to come in at the beginning like I am now.
Yeah.
Bugger off for about an hour, and then I'll be able to come on during the end.
Oh, okay, that'll work. Yeah. Yeah, trying to get some more money for that merch, are you?
Yes. Well, I've got a hefty amount of savings back up again.
Nice.
In my account, so like you said, to afford all that merch, plus public holiday pay coming up, because I don't know how similar or how different it is, but we get, and I don't even know why they call it this, but we get penalty rates. Where if we work at nighttime, we get a bit of extra. If we work on the weekends, a bit of extra. And then on public holidays is the big payoff, where you get, I think, double time.
Nice.
And if it's a public holiday weekend, then it's like double time and a half. So if the average wage is like, $30 an hour, because I'm working security, so they obviously, depending on where you work, depending on how high that rate goes up.
Well, you guys in security ought to be getting more than $30 an hour. That's what I think. But anyway, that's...
Yeah, so let's just say the base rate is 30 on time and a half public holiday weekend. That goes up to 60, $80 an hour.
Yeah, that's not
For all for each and every hour too, so it adds up after a while.
yeah. So wow, what a cold there, Angelus. Holy moly.
Sorry, I'm having breakfast at the same time. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, that's right, because you got to get to work, of course. So yeah, we got all these time zones, I guess, here in the Elite Army, don't we? So
We are a worldwide fandom.
that's us. That's us. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, we Charlie and I had a great time. You know, that movie Play Dirty is really awesome. It's a good movie for sure. You ought to go see it. You know, so and it's got some really good actors in it. Certainly Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield's in it. Certainly our Queen Rose is in it. Thomas Jane is in it. You know,
It's essentially it's not too dissimilar from the Italian Job, which, funny enough, also stars Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it is similar to that movie, isn't it?
I mean, that one obviously it's Charlize Theron that's playing the female lead.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Nova is the bad guy in that one instead of Monk. But yeah, like the dynamics has changed, but the story beats are all the same. Well, you know, very, very similar. So
yeah, Tony Shalhoub, man, he was great as playing. He's kind of like a crime lord, you know, a crime boss, you know, and he kind of runs the syndicate there, I guess, in New York, you know. I guess I'm not going to give it away. I don't want to spoil, but the idea here is that Mark Wahlberg and Rosa and Lakeith, they're trying to break, you know, they're trying to steal money from the people that stole money is what they're doing, you know. So it's kind of it's a really neat story, I think, and it's a lot of really good action in it too, as well, you know. So
yeah, so if you like that sort of film, then it's definitely worth a watch.
oh yeah, it's great. All right, well, I guess moving on. We still got the LA Fire fundraiser going on, and finally, while I was in LA, I learned the correct number of houses that were, you know, destroyed. And it was like 16,000, I think. I saw in the news there or something like that. So we haven't had a donation for a while, but I'm leaving this up, you know, in case somebody does want to donate. I'm going to put some more money in there probably this next week, and you know, just to keep things going, you know, and then you know, I'll go ahead and send them. Well, I'm going to put the money in here because this kind of gives the League Army credit, and then I'll send money to you know, to the Greater Good charity. So, you know, we'll do it like that because eventually, you know, GoFundMe they reimburse me anyway. So it's like taking money out of one pot, putting it in the other, or something like that. So, but anyway, if you want to, you just click on that link you see below the image on the screen. That link is down in the description. So you click on it, takes you to the website. And you just click on donate now, and you can specify, you can put your name in there, kind of like Angelus and I do. You know, I'm Gary Villeneuve, and that's my correct pronunciation, not the American pronunciation. And certainly Angelus is David Birch. So, and then Lee, you know, he chose to go anonymous. Him and Alita Rave, they both chose anonymous, and that's fine. You can do that as well if you want, or you can do like Vladi did. Vladi just put his internet handle on there. I think he put Vladi99 or something like that in there. You know, you can go any one of those three ways. If you don't want your personal information out on the internet, of course, you can either choose anonymous or your internet handle. And we still got the Alita sequel petition going on, and we added like 8 or 10 signatures from last week. So it kind of ticked up a little bit. Now, that's not a whole lot, but it keeps plodding along, you know, and, you know, we keep adding signatures week after week. People still they want a sequel. And certainly we want sequels, not just a sequel. So there you see the link on the image below the screen, which is also down in the description. You click on that, takes you to the website. And, you know, you can certainly, you know, you have to sign it with your name and your email, but you can specify that to be anonymous so that people don't see your name if you don't want your name out on the internet. You can donate if you want to help promote the movie. But you don't have to. It's not a requirement, certainly. If you sign the petition, you've done your part as a Alita Army member. But if you want to donate some money, you can also specify that as anonymous, and that money will go directly into you know, promoting you know, Alita Battle Angel, or Alita, in this case Alita Fallen Angel is what it'll be. So, and we still have Rosa's Queen Studios bust, and you know, whenever she's ready for it, we'll get it to her. She's been very busy, so you know, we'll you know, whenever, if she wants me to ship it to her, we'll do that. You know, we will even bring it to her if she wants. You know, I mean, I'll drive that box right down to LA if she wants me to. So, you know, but you know, she was quite flattered that we got this for her, and she does want it, and we want to get it to her because this is an expression of our appreciation, admiration, and affection for our queen. Because Rosa is the queen of the Alita Army. We also got the Alita Gaming Network going on. If you do live streaming, certainly you can put your link in there. I think we've had, I know Maxie puts the link for Radio Chaos in here, and so does Chaos Nova. He also puts links to his streams and other videos that he does. We certainly have, and I sometimes I'll put links for this stream, you know, in there. It seems like a little bit of self-promotion to do it, but you know, sometimes I still do it. We also have a fan fiction channel. If you do fanfics, I know Lee and Maxie have both got their novel length fanfics in there. I know channel does not exist. She has a lot of fanfics that are shorts that are in there. Panini Freak has got a fanfic in there. I've got a fanfic in there. And if you've written a fanfic, don't be bashful. If you would love for folks to read it, you know, and get more content on Alita, you're welcome to do it. You do have to have an Alita Gaming Network invite to do that, which means you have to have a Discord username. And if you get the basic plan, it's free. You don't have to pay anything. If you do artwork or videos, you can upload those to the user creations channel. If you have some content that's not Alita related, let's say, you can put that in the off topic channel. You know, if you want to just hang out with folks and chat, you know, because like Angela said, we are a worldwide fandom. You can invite people in the gaming network to participate in any one of those 3 voice channels right there. I know Vladi and Smendrick were for a while. They were hanging out mostly in the gaming channel because they were playing games. Like I think one they were playing was RoboCop, I think. And you can do the same thing. You can, you know, or you can just hang out on the channel and talk. You don't have to play a game on it. You can, you know, invite 3 or 4 people and just, you know, have a chat in one of those voice channels. You don't even have to display your face either. You can use your avatar for that. So if you're a little self-conscious about that, that might be a good step for you to start coming on live streams. You know, maybe a good first step would be to get on one of those voice channels. We also have a watch party channel or channels. And what we do is, you know, basically when we're going to have a watch party, or at least when I'm going to do a watch party, I'll put the, you know, some kind of, I won't call it an ad, but I'll promote it in the watch party text channel. And then the watch party itself, you know, we'll do that in the watch party channel, as you see there. And I think here about, back on September the 9th, we actually watched Alita Battle Angel, you know, and we kind of dual stream. Well, you don't really stream it there, I guess, but in the watch party channel. But we kind of played that for both this stream. We did a special live stream for the Alita live stream, and we did the watch party over there at the Gaming Network watch party channel. So if you want to do a watch party, you don't even need my permission. You can just go in there and do it. You know, just invite some of the folks that are on the gaming network and start playing. You know, start watching any movie. I mean, we've certainly watched a lot of stuff from Rosa. You know, in addition to Alita Battle Angel, we watched Good Crazy. We watched her Star Trek short. Let's see, we watched Chariot. Those are the 4 that come off the top of my head. And we may have watched another one, but I can't remember what it is now. Now, we've also watched some stuff that are very loosely Alita related, like, say, for instance, Ghost in the Shell. We watched the movie with Scarlett Johansson and one of the anime episodes we watched in that channel. And, you know, we watched, oh gosh, I can't, there was another one we watched and I can't recall. Oh, it was Rollerball. That's right. We watched Rollerball because it's very similar in a lot of ways to Motorball, you know, except it's not played by, you know, cyborgs. It was humans, you know, kind of professional athlete types, you know, that were playing that game. So anyway, it's set in the future as well. If you want to do a watch party, you can do that. You do have to join the network, and it's absolutely free. You just click on that link right there. Now, if you don't have a Discord username, you'll get one. They'll ask you to sign up and that kind of thing, but you can always sign up for the basic plan. It's absolutely free. You know, you'll have to put an avatar in there and your name, but your name does not get displayed anywhere in Discord. And then once you do that, then you get an invite to the gaming network, and then you can, you know, click on that and come into the network. And people are really good on this network. You know, you get a lot of, you know, gifts, I guess, that folks, you know, post in there welcoming new members and stuff like that. And I don't know how many members we got on there now, because like I say, the last 2 or 3 weeks have been pretty busy, but you know, it was just under 50, I think. And we're not really promoting this too hard because, you know, the folks that are in the network, they kind of, they like it being small like that because it's more intimate, I guess, you know. So anyway, you just click on that link, you get the invite, and you don't have to pay us anything either. The Creek does not make any money off of Alita in any way. I don't do that. Okay. Any thoughts, guys?
Nothing comes to mind.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, yeah, our chibi Alita, she's cute. Yeah, that's for sure, you know. Okay, then without further ado, we're going to, you know, do a reading here of the manga. Now, just a little bit of a setup on this. You see for chapter 21, it says the Sorrows of Young Itall. Now, who Itall is, his name is Itall Sunnen, I believe is his last name. And who he is that he is Baron Mustard's younger self. So he's, you know, kind of, he hasn't been afflicted with that disease, I guess, of all those mask tumors that he's got on him. Lee, I don't recall, you or Angela, so they don't say those tumors are malignant, are they? They might be.
They just keep growing until there are so many of them that the body systems are overloaded trying to provide nourishment and everything to all of them.
Yeah, so I guess that means that it is malignant in some way. So
not like, you know,
not like a cancer, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it can be eventually lethal.
Well, yeah, I think traditional cancer, you get that, and it certainly grows like those mask tumors, but also what it does is it destroys tissue as it grows, you know, because it
eats the body.
Whereas this, you know, these masks, they're requiring sustenance from the host, you know,
which puts more and more stress on the body trying to keep everything alive.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, that's one hell of a chicken there, isn't it? Have 2 little girls sitting on it. Okay, well, anyway, I guess we can start going with that. Here's that's the title page right there, The Sorrows of Young Itall. Now, what that is, first, you remember from the last, I guess, reading, Muster was after that treasure of Mars, I guess it was, you know, and of course, some things went south with what's his name, Lee. I can't remember the guy that was assigned as Erica's pet. What was that guy's name?
I can't remember either. I just remember that he turned out to be an assassin.
Yeah, and he was in it for himself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to take advantage, I guess, and of course
caused some additional trust issues to a young girl who had already suffered quite a few trust issues.
Yeah, for sure. And there she's bawling because, you know, basically Erica and Alita. Well, Alita was more of a toddler than Erica was. I think Erica was probably 5 years old, maybe. Alita was more like 3 years old or whatever like that. But anyway, you see Erica, she's pretty distraught over the whole thing. So she's whang away, you know. And then, of course, you know, I guess you see a knife there flying, you know, through the air. I'm not sure what that was, where they killed, I can't remember his name now, the guy. But anyway, Zoe is the person that I guess is Baron Muster's assistant, I guess. Now, she's not intimate with Baron Muster like, say, Eli is with Nova. You know, she's just a
loyal servant.
A loyal servant, yeah. So anyway, she says, "I'm very sorry, Lord Must." She starts to say that, and then of course Baron Muster just slaps the crap out of her, you know, as you can see, knocking her sideways, I guess. And he said, "You let him steal your weapon? Pathetic," you know, is what he says. And he's kind of screaming at her and this kind of thing. And he's not a forgiving guy, is he?
Putting it
at all.
mildly.
Yeah, exactly. He's pretty evil, you know. He does seem to have developed some kind of bond for Erica, though, you know, because maybe he sees potential in her and being just as evil as he is, maybe, you know. So anyway, they come to this point, and I remember they've been searching for this treasure, and I think the rumor is, or not the rumor, but the story is, the legend is that the person that owns that book, the War, I think it's called the War Chapter or Volume 2, I believe it is, Swy, it's got written on it. If they own that and that disc, then they can find the treasure of Mars, I think is what the legend is. So anyway, he says a crystal disc, it must contain the method to manufacture the immortality potion. So that's what he's after, you know, because he knows he's not long for that world, anyway, Mars. And he says, now it's almost like he's being somewhat religious or cultish here, isn't he? God, spirits, demons of Mars, witness me. So many lords, thieves, sages, even my greatest enemy, how ardently they all sought this treasure. And of course, he grabs it. And he says, now it's within my grasp. And he's laughing, ha, 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 the accursed treasure of Mars. How many fates have been driven to oblivion by your allure, you know? So he's finally got, I guess that disc is the treasure, isn't it, Lee or Angelus? Do you recall? Maybe it is.
That's my understanding of it. It holds information to create something that I guess is going to be very powerful, this immortality potion, and maybe even something else.
You don't reckon?
Sure.
Yeah, you don't reckon this thing is kind of like the thinking way ahead is the kind of the inspiration that Nova has for, you know, having those
his longevity treatments,
yeah,
or those nanites that
yeah,
regenerate him. I don't know. I mean, immortality has been so sought after, yeah, by so many people that, you know, it could just be that living forever is just something all of the villains are looking for.
It could be, you know, kind of like the Fountain of Youth.
Mm-hmm.
In history, you know, the Fountain of Youth, of course, doesn't exist, but I mean, you know, that was kind of the thing back in the 15th and 16th century, you know, when I guess Ponce de Leon, you know, he's given credit for the person that, quote, discovered, unquote, Florida, although he didn't discover shit because there was already people living there.
Yeah.
But he's given credit for it, you know. At least
in
for
this case, Baron Muster looked for the immortality potion and probably was it Nova just created his own immortality potion.
Yeah.
What's your secret, Freaky?
Well, I wouldn't say it's immortality, but what I would say is if you
Weightlifting and clean living.
that's well, I don't know how much
Exactly.
clean living I'm doing, but
Gun.
yeah, but mostly exercise. Have a good combination of resistance training and some cardio, and certainly don't go nuts eating stuff. Now, my diet's not perfect, but I do try to watch what I eat, so I don't eat too much saturated fat and sugar and stuff like that, so.
And just to bring it back to Alita, which is a perfect circle segue back to the topic.
Yeah.
In Holy Night, the first Night Stories, when she goes up against the Sonic Finger dude, Alita is going out literally for a run, for exercise.
Yep.
So even cyborgs do it. Just saying.
Yep. Well, that where she goes out for a run in Sonic Finger, that was the inspiration for her in the movie, running across the top of the buildings, I think. So she's very Spider-Man-esque, isn't she, in that regard, although she doesn't climb up the sides of walls. But in the novelization, she has the ability to climb up the wall, not like Spider-Man, but she's, she can just kind of go straight up a wall.
She's got a lot of finger strength, so she doesn't need much in the way of a purchase to keep a grip.
Yeah, that's right. So, but anyway, this piece of stuff has found this disc. It looks a lot like one of those old vinyl records, doesn't it?
I was thinking one of those old laser discs.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
I wonder if that's where he got the idea too, because those old laser discs, they were like 12 or 14 inches in diameter, weren't they? Because I know I had a laser disc
they were
player
good size.
at one time. Yeah.
I had a guy in the barracks who had one that he watched movies on.
Yeah. And it all began on that horrid day in that horrid place. So I guess these are the ruins. And this is where, you remember way back, several chapters back, Baron Muster and Erica, fell through the top of one of these things and, fell down into these ruins. And, they thought they were goners, basically, but they managed to get out of it, I guess. So, well, of course they managed to get out of it because here they are, right? Yep. So, but anyway, this, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. The Merli Jota ruins, I guess, is about as best I can, or they of course could pronounce that J like an H. So that's possible, or Face of Mars. And I think this thing right here was based on that picture, I think, of the, if you remember sometime back, I guess, we lost Angelus. I guess he had to go. There was that picture on the surface of Mars that looked like a face. You remember that? And there was a real big, a whole bunch of stuff going around the internet and stuff like that. Well, such as it was back then on the internet, but about that being, a structure built by aliens. Of course, they found out it was really just the way the sun was, hitting the surfaces on that mound that made it look like a face. So that anyway, that's basically what that was. But this is, I think, the same. This guy right here, it's the same, hill or whatever of that, and I think they built something inside or something like this. And it says the ruins of Merli Jota were being evacuated and studied at the time. My father, a scholar, was the head of the team, and my sister and I took part. So this is back. Now this is kind of like a flashback. He's going back his younger self. Baron Muster is. His name's Itall Sonnen, and he had a sister and a father that were, doing this excavation or whatever they were doing. I think maybe they were looking for the treasure as well, at that point. And you can see the layout. They got construction going on, all that middle panel right there. And then you see a figure standing on top of that hill. It says, and yes, I wouldn't mind being a poet. Now there's two figures there. This guy right here, you see my cursor, that's Baron Muster when he's a young guy, you know, his name, he's Itall's son. And this guy right here is actually Erica's father. And I can't remember his name. We're going to see it here in a couple of minutes.
That might be why he has such a connection to Erica then.
Yeah, might be, yeah. So anyway, that's him right here. He said, perhaps a troubadour, a minstrel, and he starts singing or doing la la la, whatever it is. And of course, Erica's father is smoking a cigarette, and he says, "Ha, a clown, more like it." You know, of course, he kind of turned into a clown-looking individual, didn't he? He says, "You jest, but I actually am quite a good juggler." You know, and he said, "Come on, Johann." That's his name, yeah, Johann Wald. Okay. So I guess Erica's name is Erica Wald, isn't it? Isn't it? So anyway, come on, Johann, we can both do it. And of course, Johann says, "Shut up and do it yourself." Now that's Erica's father down here. Okay. And they're still smoking cigarettes in the 22nd century or whatever it was, I guess, or 23rd century, depending on what, you know, still have cigarettes around, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he goes back and recounts how he met, you know, Johann Wald. He said, "I met Johann during a survey. During the survey, he was a wanderer from the south." So, in other words, he was not in Cydonia at that point. He was some other place, you know, foul-mouthed and surly. You know, sounds like a lot of people I know, actually. He was my polar opposite at the time, but somehow we got along well. So, you know, they kind of struck up a friendship, I guess. He said, "Why don't you fancy a scholar like your dear old pop?" He said, "You've got a good head on your shoulders. You could get through college." And then, of course, this Sonnen Itall says, "Academia is an option for me. It's not the worst idea, but my arms and legs get antsy sitting in a chair, and my head fills with thoughts I want to pursue. There's too much to do. I can't even figure out where to start. Sometimes I curse my own brilliance." So it sounds like a little bit of narcissism going on there as well, you know.
A little bit.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, there you are." And then he sees that now this person right here is the young Baron Muster's sister. And there she is. Her name is Nolan Sonnen. And she looks up at him, you know, he's up there on that hill with Johann Wald. And she says, "Stop slacking off and come help, brother." You know, so she, you know, she is his younger sister. And he says, "Ugh, the last person I wanted to see spot me, you know. The lady herself is coming to inspect the site." So anyway, this craft shows up, and of course this woman comes out, and she's royalty. Her name is Kagura Dornberg. So later on, she becomes Lady of Cydonia, you know. So, and that's her servant there on her left shoulder, and they come down out of the craft. So they're there to inspect the site that they're kind of excavating, you know, and trying to, I guess they're trying to find that the treasure themselves. And you know, basically an explanation there. The excavation of Merli Jota was Lady Kagura's plan, and she was the sponsor of the trip. And of course, this Nolan Sonnen says, "Oh, she's always so perfect," you know. And then, of course, her brother, who was a young Baron Muster, "I'll be honest, at the time I was consumed with affection for her. Yes, I knew she was permanently out of my league. How many love letters did I write and tear apart?" You know, so he had a crush on her. I get big time crush. Kind of like us Alita Army members have on Rosa, I guess. You know, maybe joking, of course. So, so anyway, that's, but anyway, he evidently has this, had this crush on her. And of course, since he figured out that she wasn't, you know, she was beyond his reach, I guess he might have developed some feelings of oh, I don't know.
Resentment.
Yeah, resentment. Yes, that's a good word, I guess, because he couldn't have her because she's she's in a different class and he is, and that kind of stuff, I guess. So anyway, that guy there, Dr. Kruk Sanan, that's Baron Muster's father. And he stands up, he says, "Welcome, Lady Kagura. We only unearthed the box this morning. The scan shows us that a cylindrical object is contained inside." Now, the handmaiden, her name is, or the slave is Porcilla Porwit. Well, where they come up with these names, I'm not sure. Anyway, I guess Yukito Kishiro has quite an imagination for coming up with making up names, I guess. "You have not unsealed the box yet?" And of course, Lady Kagura says, "I look forward to being present at its unsealing." So they didn't unseal it until she got there, and they were doing that on purpose. Policera, the case, and she says, "Yes, my lady." So you can see who's in charge here, I guess. And then, of course, they open the case and it says, "This is the Dornberg family heirloom, Clausewitz on War, Volume 2. And there you see Von Kriege Zwei, which is, written by this guy, Clausewitz. And, he wrote the book in there. And this is where they were saying that people that own this, have a leg up on getting to the treasure. And I guess Baron Muster's father says, "Oh, this is the book," kind of like that. "The nobility of grandfather's generation fought over this." So the war. It says, I wonder what war they might be talking about. The terraforming wars, I guess. Maybe that's what it was. It is claimed that possession of both this book and another special item will give you the secret treasure of Mars, or to give one the secret treasure of Mars. It was believed that whoever owned the treasure would be the rightful great king of Mars. This was the first time I ever heard the legend of the treasure, but not a word of it entered my ears." So I guess he heard it from some other source, probably. I was entranced by that's interesting wording right there. I was entranced by the regal line of Kagura's jaw.
I think it was entranced.
Entranced, yeah, there you go. And entranced by the regal line of Kagura's jaw, the voluptuous movements of her lips. So yes, he's still got this crush thing going, I guess. He thinks she's perfect, I guess, at this point. And of course, the servant says, "Please do be careful, my lady," and he says, "This way, if you please." So, Baron Muster himself, Itall Sonnen, says, "This way," and they go up and they see this, kind of a, a large box, not a cylindrical, but kind of a rectangular parallelepiped looking thing, they kind of is reminiscent of 2001 on the moon, isn't it? Of the monolith,
Little bit.
I guess. Yeah. So anyway, they walking down to it. And of course, her guards are outstanding watching the craft and all that stuff. And this one individual, I don't know who that, I believe that is Johann Wald, says, "The hell they're going to use all those explosives. What the hell are they going to use all these explosives for?" And, that kind of should give you a hint what's going to go on here. So anyway, Lady Kagura says, "Open it now, Itall," like that. And so he gets a crowbar and he starts working on it. And he opens it. And when he does, this substance fly out. And it's kind of like a glitter, sparkly, kind of, like dust and stuff like that. And I guess Baron Muster's father says, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "The particles of dust that emerged glittered all the colors of the rainbow in the light and had a sweet scent. In that moment, we were unaware that this was actually a dreadful trap." So anyway, this substance must be poison of some sort. And of course, you see Itall there is holding, you know, what looks to be like a scepter, you know, and that's that thing with that. If you remember a few chapters back, they were talking about the head of an eagle that had that pointed at the opening of this on this cliff, you know, at a certain time of the year on a particular time of day. And this is, I guess, what it was modeled after right here. And Lady Kagura says, just as the legend said, the golden stalk, the golden cane, the second item that will bring the great treasure to me. So she's wanting immortality too, I guess. You know, well, I guess who wouldn't, you know, but anyway. And then, of course, she says, your work is great. Your work is appreciated, Dr. Crook. And I believe you and your team deserve a reward. He said, tell the rest of your group to gather here, you know. So anyway, he said, I will return shortly. So she starts walking up the ramp. And I guess so. That might be Johann. He says, get the hell out of there, you idiot. And of course, you know, he said, they're going to bury you alive. And Johann, Lady Kagura is going to give us. And then, of course, there's a, you know, a sound of like roar, whatever it is, and boom, like that. So what they did, basically, they set off those explosives. That
I think you may have gotten that a little backwards. The
Oh,
was the phone ringing and him picking it up.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's.
I think.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. I forget it goes right to left. I forget about that. Yeah, you know, and okay, so yeah, the phone rings. Johann, Lady Kagura is going to give us, and he says, you're going to be buried alive, or they're going to bury you alive, you know. And then of course the the explosives go off.
Then they bury him alive.
And then they bury him alive, just as they would say. And of course there's a lot of chaos and panic and stuff like that. And I guess Baron Muster, he didn't have clear memories of the event. I guess he says, I know that there was shouting at some time. He ran to the exit. I carried my unconscious sister with me, and my father and some of the team followed behind me. So they're trying to get out of there. And outside, Johann himself, kind of grabbed the, Lady Kagura's handmaid and used her as a human shield, I guess, starts, shooting at the troops, I guess is what he's doing. He's in a firefight with the guards. And of course, the craft, I guess, so that's where Lady Kagura was going. She was going to go to the craft and get the heck out of there with that scepter, so the eagle's head scepter. Oh no, that looks like those guys are getting into that craft, doesn't it? Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, because they're going up those stairs, so that's what they're doing, I guess. And then, of course, I guess Johann says, this is all we've got left. The others are all, and it's Nolan hanging there. So I guess, Baron Muster's sister has been severely injured. And one of the other guys says, damn, I can't stop the bleeding. But why? Why did they do this? That's why, that's Baron Muster's father saying that. Because that's his daughter right there. Of course, he's concerned for her. And then Johann says, this happens all the time. They were trying to silence us. It's a feature of many treasure hunts. Just ask the handmaid there, It doesn't matter. We need a doctor. Get us to a hospital. So they take the craft and they're flying to the hospital, I guess. But when they arrived in town, they see these, kind of like we saw in the movie, in the kiosk, all the criminals that the folks are after, the hunter warriors are after, and they're all in the news headline. They've all been, 18 kills for the treasure hunt. Wow, they used a German word fur. Okay. They're dangerous criminals who killed 18, abducted a handmaid, and stole a valuable treasure. And of course, Baron Muster's father said, that's crazy. They framed us. The princess really fucked us over. So yeah, she did. Lady Kagura seems determined to wipe us out. I can't believe it. How could such a beautiful woman be so cruel? You know, so he's still got a little bit of a crush on her, I suppose. It must be a conspiracy, a plot to overthrow her command. You know, so he's holding out that maybe she's still good, I guess, even though she's
trying to rationalize what happened.
Yeah. Open your eyes already, Itall. Nolan's breathing is shallow. We need to help her soon. Let's just surrender. Anything to save my sister's life. And then Johan says, absolutely not. I refuse to turn myself in. And then, of course, Itall grabs him and says, you would allow my sister to die, Johan? And Johan says, you can't trust them. There's no guarantee they'll save her. If you turn yourselves in without further trouble, I will ensure your good treatment. So in other words, that's what the handmaid's saying, you know, hey, turn yourselves in. I will make sure you get good treatment. And that sounds like famous last words to me, you know.
Yep.
I can testify that the robbery and the murder charges are a mistake. So her name, Policella, I guess is the correct pronunciation. You said your name was, can we really trust you? And she says, of course you can. Really? No, no, we can't trust you. Anyway, they're in there debating it. Well, you heard her. We are honest and in the right. If we speak truthfully, the police will understand and take our side. Let's turn ourselves in. No one argued against him at this time. That's being Mustard's father. Looking back, you might deride us as fools, but how could we have known then what was about to happen to us? And of course, I guess Johan's kind of been outvoted, I guess, so he looks down in the dumps on it. We need to talk, Itall, is what he says. And he says, I'm getting out of here, kid. Tell them all that the robbery and murder was my doing. Besides, I did shoot a couple of her guards. Johan, you can't. So I guess they've become friends, those two, you know, and he does have some concern for him. When I served down south, I killed a superior officer and went AWOL. Now, for those of you that don't know military speak, that means absent without leave. So anyway, because, and of course, I'm sure Lee could explain it better than me, but, you know, basically the higher ups, whoever's in your command, have to know where you are, you know, and they, you know, you report to them. And, you know, if you're supposed to be one place and you're not, then you're absent without leave, I guess. So, the leave itself is, you can think of that as like vacation time, if you want to think of it as that. So in other words, take leave, you know, kind of thing. A few extra crimes ain't going to make my reputation any worse. Also here, and he throws him this, whatever this thing is here, I guess it's that pack he was carrying. And he says, the golden cane, you know, so now he's got the golden cane. You take the stick, I take the book. So that I can't remember from a few chapters ago that, you know, we saw that book and there was you remember those people broke into Erica's house and they were after the book, you know, so now it kind of makes sense why they were after the book. You know, say, why would somebody, you know, go in there and, you know, break into somebody's house just to steal a book, you know? So there's a reason, because, you know, if they get that book and they get the cane, now they can, you know, find the treasure and they can, you know, get immortality, I guess. It says, and each of us will hide in a place no one else knows. It's insurance, or hide it in a place no one else knows. It's insurance, using it as a bargaining chip in an emergency. Then, of course, Itall says, so long, or no, rather, Johan says, so long, kid, get Nolan all patched up. And that's it. That is the story. Now, what I suspect, now I already read the Mars Chronicles, but I can't remember exactly. But I think that when they opened that up and it had that, you know, I guess that dust that flew out of that, you know, that kind of,
yeah, wasn't that the
thing.
Petrification material?
That was, yeah, it was. And
so when they're exposed to a certain frequency of sound, it'll start petrifying them.
Yes.
Hmm.
So they're screwed.
Yep.
Although Baron Muster, of course, ends up surviving. He doesn't get petrified, but he gets just as worse, I think.
He gets the mask tumor, or maybe it's the mask. No, because Erica's father didn't get that.
Yeah, Erica's father didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but did he get petrified? I don't remember seeing.
No, Erica's father. Oh wait, no. Maybe that was a stepfather that she had growing up.
Could be.
Maybe he did get petrified.
Do we ever find out what the immortality secret is? I don't think so, AKA. I mean, it's been so long since I read Mars Chronicles, I don't recall.
I'm kind of inclined to wonder if it might be some kind of precursor to the Methuselization treatment.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is, you know.
Or if it's something else entirely, maybe.
Or, yeah, maybe Nova figures out something, an analog for it or whatever.
No, I mean the Methuselization treatments that the rest of the solar system ends up getting a hold of. The ones that I think Wu Ping ended up releasing out to everybody so everybody could be immortal.
Yeah. Of course, I don't think Nova would want everybody to be immortal. So because he loves seeing people suffer.
Well, the movie version does.
Yeah.
The manga version seems to be, have slightly different motivations there.
So anyway, Alita, certainly Yoko rather, and Erica, they don't have much of a part here. I mean, Erica's in one panel. Alita's only in the title, panel. So she's, I mean, this is more of a flashback to give you an understanding of where Baron Muster came from. His backstory basically is what this is.
Which is also, I think, what Kishiro did with Karula.
Yes.
When she showed up, he gave like a multi-issue backstory for her.
Yeah.
So it's probably what we're going to get with Baron Muster here.
Yeah. So anyway, Baron Muster really kind of pissed it, at Zoe, I guess. Zoe was this badass character. You see Baron Muster just slapping her around, with his cane.
Well, he's unhinged, so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely unhinged. So no, AKA, I don't recall. I don't recall if we do or not. I guess we'll find out in some of the subsequent chapters here. So anyway, he's got this disc. Now, at this point, we don't know where that scepter is, do we? I mean, maybe he luckily stumbled onto this crystal.
No, I think he had it, which is how they got in here.
That's true, I guess, because it was a key, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was part of the process to get in.
So he's got the disc. He's got the book. So he thinks.
Well, the book and the cane or scepter or whatever it was were both part of the entry process to get into the vault. Now he's got into the vault. He's got the reward that was stored in the vault. Yeah.
Now it looks like you say a disc. I wonder if it's got information on it that teaches them.
Oh, undoubtedly.
That teaches them how to be immortal, I guess.
I mean, it looks like probably a CD or something like that. So it's obviously got some kind of digital information encoded on it in some fashion.
Well, the disc will say, well, there's this character back in the 21st century named Creek, and he's, this is how he did it. Something like that, maybe. Yeah. So, but anyway, he's all happy now. He's got that disc, and now he thinks he's going to be immortal.
Yep.
For sure, So basically, moving on here, it kind of gives you. Now, this is where the backstory begins, for Baron Muster, because he's basically explaining this. You remember these folks here. There were, I guess there were. I don't know how many people were with him on this, but Erica and certainly Zoe, and I think it might have been another person. Now he killed.
There were two other people: the assassin plus the doctor that got there.
And he killed the doctor, and the assassin, of course, got killed.
Yep.
So anyway, now he thinks he's got it. So and then he just starts. this is another reason I think he's crazy. He goes off into this tangent, you know, just rambling about his backstory, I guess is what that is. So, you know, so anyway, you know, it's him as a young man and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's, there's his sister. And then of course, that Lady Kagura shows up, you know, with her slave and, or handmaid or whatever you want to call her. And of course, we learned later that Lady Kagura, you know, that Baron Muster had an awful crush on her. You know, she'd be a little too uppity for me, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really caring for her myself.
Yeah, not too much, but evidently he did. So, so anyway, we meet Baron Muster's father, and then we've met his sister. We know Lady Kagura. And of course, you know, it's just the, you know, there's the book and all that stuff. And so
AKA was mentioning that Muster seems like a really decent guy in his early years. That seems to be the thing about a lot of Kishiro's characters. They're either early on, before they end up how we see them in the main story, they have like, you know, they seem like really decent people.
Yes.
Or in the case of Nova, he has a very decent side that we only get to see in the Ouroboros program when he goes through that change as he's living a new life alongside Alita.
Well, I think not Muster. I think Nova cares for Alita because she's given him so much entertainment, I guess. You know, the way, you know, you remember he was going to, well, in the movie anyway, he's going to kill her. And then of course he doesn't, you know. Yeah.
Well, in the manga, I think he's just finding her useful to carry out his experiments. I don't think he really likes her. In the Ouroboros program, he got to care for her in that. But that knowledge, that experience never carried over to him because when she blew his head off, the new brain that reawoke didn't have all that downloaded into it. Yeah. So he got reset back to before all of that happened.
Yeah, so he didn't like her so.
Well, he doesn't care. He doesn't seem to have any.
Yeah, he's ambivalent.
He's very amoral. He doesn't seem to have any kind of capability to form the kind of human connections that any normal person would. He's got a very, well, for lack of a better term, he's got a very monstrous sort of.
Well, he's a psychopath and a sociopath, is what he is. So anyway, but anyway, there they are. They've discovered this thing, and that's where that scepter is with the eagle on it. Yep. And of course, these guys are coming down there to get it, and I guess Johann sees them unloading these explosives, and they open this thing up, and then all of that crystallization stuff comes out, which he didn't get I guess his father doesn't get crystallized.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't there for it when it got opened. So yeah, he wouldn't have been exposed.
Yeah. Now, certainly Muster was exposed, so he figured out an antidote for it, I think. And of course, there's the scepter, and there you see Lady Kagura is just, oh boy, I've got it, and then of course, she tricks him. I'm going to come back and give you a reward. Yeah, the reward would be this, boom, like that. And these people are all, she thinks are, kind of, they're all, buried, into that mound, I guess. And of course, they do make it out of there. And of course, Johann's, fighting the soldiers, and they take off in this craft. It's their craft. And now they're kind of, they feel like they've been beaten and stuff like that, which they kind of have been, really. And they're all concerned over Nolan. She looks like she's dying. So, and of course, Muster, unlike him, what we see him as Baron Muster, but as Itall's son, and he loves his sister. He doesn't want her to die and stuff like that. And they try to get her to the hospital. And of course, he says, "Hey, if we surrender, if we turn ourselves in, they'll treat us, and she'll live, and that kind of thing." And then of course, Johann says, "Don't trust them. We can't trust them." And of course, the handmaid says that she would testify that the robbery and the murder charges are a mistake. Now we don't know yet if she's a plant, you know, in other words, I wonder if they left her behind, you know, if Lady Kagura left her behind as a kind of a, you know, a plant, I guess.
I think Lady Kagura left her behind because she didn't care whether she lived or died.
That's possible, you know, for sure.
Like everything else in Lady Kagura's life, if you're like one of the low-life servants or whatever, you're disposable.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, she says, well, I'll testify on your behalf, stuff like that. You can trust me. Yeah. Yeah. You trust her to take you right to the truck is what you can trust her to do. And then, of course, they're all kind of figuring out what to do here and stuff like that. And then finally, I guess Johann says, hey, I'm out of here, Jack. I'll take the book. You keep the scepter. We'll keep them separate. And that way, you know, it'd be kind of like an insurance policy, you know, as he said there, because, you know, if two people have got the, you know, if they both have the scepter and if the one person has scepter in the book, they got a lot of this power. Now it's funny that, you know, I guess Baron Muster carried this scepter with him all this time, didn't he? So, and that's it.
Yeah. I was going to say, actually, with AKA there, I think Alita actually goes both directions. I mean, she's a sweet little girl, gets trained up as a Künstler into a cold-blooded killing machine, and then gets reset back into this warm, caring individual.
Yeah. Yeah, he does seem like a decent guy, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see. Why he turned out the way he did. You know,
I'm kind of thinking this isn't the same guy, because I seem to remember the man that we saw in Erica's flashback. Didn't he seem? Didn't he look different?
I don't know. Let me go back to the beginning here just.
No, I mean in Erica's flashback, when we saw her backstory. That was, you know, several issues ago.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall either.
So he's saying the ruins of Merli Jota have been excavated and studied at the time. My father. Now he's talking in first person here. I think it's him. I think that's him. That's my feeling. I mean, I might be wrong, but you know, he says
could be with everything that happened and then getting into a drinking problem. He just turned into that pile of crap that we saw. That
well, plus getting those masked tumors all over him.
Well, Erica's father didn't have the masked tumors, as far as I'm aware.
No, not Erica's father, Muster.
Yeah, I was talking about Erica's father.
Oh, Johann. Yeah, he doesn't have the masked tumors, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that he looked different than the man that we see here.
Well, remember, this would be his younger self too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And it does say later Erica's father, so yeah, it's him, I guess. Because you know, this is a younger Muster right here, and this is a younger Erica's father, and he had the book. Remember, and then those few chapters back, he had the book. You know, that those guys broke in to steal the book, I guess.
Actually, Erica, I think, tricked them into breaking in. She basically told them that her father had a whole bunch of money or something like that stashed, and she was going to help them get it. And then they broke in, and then she used that opportunity to kill her parents.
Yeah. Of course, they find out he had the book, or at least they thought he was the author of the book, didn't they, at one point? But it's that other guy, the Klaus.
I don't think the book was actually involved in that, was it?
I seem to remember her mentioning it, but maybe you're right.
It's been so long.
Yeah. Well, AKA thinks you're right, Lee.
Well, I think AK is talking about that previous subject that we brought up.
This guy right here.
Yeah, about how people go one way and then the other. And that's the thing about Kishiro's characters. They all seem to have a sort of
dark side.
Two sides to them.
Yeah,
they have a decent side and they have that dark side.
So in a very real way, Nova's a lot like Alita in that when he got his head blown off, that he lost all of his memory. I guess, and he got like
of everything that happened to Ouroboros, at the least.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of like Alita, you know, she got thrown over, you know, Jeru or Zalem, one of the two. And
Caceres, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Kishiro stated he identifies most with Nova and Muster. Wow. So anyway, they kind of find it this really, you know, important.
I find that mildly disturbing.
Yes. You know, this rich person shows up that Muster has a crush on. That's very. I guess she's has somewhat importance. You know,
she's royalty, obviously.
Yeah, royalty. Yeah, so she shows up. You know, they get I guess she gets the scepter, and of course that one. I guess that kind of like that notification of all those 4 people killing. I wonder if she got killed because you know she has the scepter. There, see, there it is, right there. She has the scepter, but you know, here's this thing. You know, they're fighting right here. They're shooting, and you know, they kind of go through all the stuff. See, they find out 18 kills for treasure hunt. You know, something like this, and he ends up with the scepter. So I wonder if she got killed. And he got the scepter and gave it to Muster. That's kind of what it looks like to me, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, I can't make out the pictures well enough to be able to tell one way or the other.
Well, you see, there's the golden cane, as they call it. So he's got it. He's got it right now, and he had it.
Yep.
Okay, because he throws it to him.
That's the thing, though. I can't tell if the noble lady, what's her face, got killed or something in the struggle.
And he ended up
really
with it.
Make
It
out
doesn't show you. Doesn't even show you, does it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like I can't really make out the pictures to tell if, you know, what's going on in there. If she got killed in the struggle, or if she escaped and dropped it, or what happened.
Yeah, you can't tell. But he does end up with it. He's in a firefight with him. So he does end up with the cane. Oh, wait a minute. Did he have the cane there? He's got the cane right here. See it?
Okay.
So
maybe she handed it off to her maid, and her maid lost it to him when he took her prisoner.
Well, there she is right here. There's that's the maid. Here's Lady Kagura right here, but it doesn't say anything. Looks like these 2 soldiers. Remember, he said he shot 2 of her soldiers. That maybe they use themselves as you know, to take a bullet for her or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's what the guards are for. It's like, you know, they put themselves between their patron and the whatever's threatening them.
But he's got the cane there.
That makes me think that the maid had it. That Lady Kagura handed off to her, and then she got captured, and so the cane was lost with her.
Could be. We don't know what happened to Lady Kagura. Well, we'll probably find out in the next few chapters. So anyway, there's the cane again. The cane is with her. See, that's her right there. So maybe you're right there, Lee. Maybe the Lady Kagura gave it to her servant. You would think something that important, though, she'd want to hang on to it.
She's a noble.
Yeah.
Servants are for holding on to stuff. They're the extra set of hands so you don't dirty yours.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, anyway, they, you know, I guess Muster's sister is in bad shape, and Johann and Muster or Itall have this agreement that they'll keep the book and the cane in 2 separate places. And I guess we just have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody in the chat got anything you might want to add to the discussion? How about Lee? Any final thoughts?
Not really. Nothing comes to mind.
Well, we kind of been doing this already, haven't we? The reaction.
Yep.
I don't move those slides fast enough sometimes. Yeah.
Each one's pretty short tidbits, so there's not really a whole lot to go over once you're done with it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and these manga readings tend to be shorter in terms of the stream because the topic doesn't lend itself to Creek keeping his mouth open so much, I guess. So, I guess next week we'll come up with another topic, for the stream. Did we miss anything, Lee?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we figured out who's got the cane. Well, we didn't figure out what happened to Lady Kagura, but we certainly saw who ended up with a cane. So, the golden cane. So, well, you can see from that center panel right there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek because he wants a sequel just like she does, and he wants several sequels just like Creek and Lee want.
Yep.
So, and if you have a problem with that, if you have a problem with Alita loving her Uncle Creek, then you can take it up with her.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's our queen and Elle Lamont and Jesse Fisher. I want to give them shout outs. We certainly want, when the Alita sequel, particularly Alita 2, when that comes out, I want to see Alita and Screwhead team up against Joshigon. Be like Elle said, Elle told us something like Screwhead figured out that, kind of Vector was manipulating them and stuff like that. And, she's kind of pissed off about the whole thing. And so she goes back to Alita and says, hey, I'm with you, girl. What was it? I think Twitch said, I'm with you, girl. Let's just burn the whole place down.
Something like that.
Yeah. That was kind of neat. So, yeah, AKA, I guess Angelus is going to miss us, isn't it? Well, we'll do the after party if anybody wants to come on. So, but anyway, we definitely want all three of these superb, but well, in the case of Rosa and Elle, they're great actors, but Jesse's really a super stunt woman, so that's really cool. We want all three of them in the sequel. So,
yep.
And we got a manga reading tomorrow on Radio Chaos. Alita Fallen Angel, Last Blade, Challenge 3, Fortune. And Lee, I will send you a link.
Alrighty.
So if you want to come on for that too as well. So, and Maxie's going to be the host. He loves doing these manga readings. So, and he's a lot better at it than I am. That's for sure. Yeah,
it takes a bit of practice sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you'd think by 21 chapters, I'd have it down by now, wouldn't you?
Well, they're short chapters, so you don't get a lot of practice.
Yeah, that's true. So, but we'll have fun on this thing for sure. And we are the Alita Army. We are the most, friendly fandom on the internet. We support Rosa and Alita passionately and positively, and we are here to stay. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing until Disney caves in. That's what Creek wants to do anyway, is to keep it up, and for me, it's not a question of just being stubborn and keeping it up, because I enjoy doing, Alita videos and stuff like that. To me, it's a lot of fun, so, and it doesn't take a lot of my time, it takes some. It's like having two jobs, I guess, but I think Star Bellion said that one time, he said like having two jobs, but anyway, yeah, we want that sequel, Disney. So give it to us, for crying out loud. Why is that image there? Well, that image is there because I like it. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. Oh, and our queen. I didn't put that in there. So yeah, we want a sequel. We want to see Rosa succeed and all that. By the way, go see that movie, Play Dirty. Man, it is excellent. Really super movie. Rosa's great in that movie. And it's a part, I'm not going to spoil, but it's a part that she has the character she plays is not what I'm used to, you know, seeing Rosa in different things. I mean, it's quite different.
From what I gathered, what you were saying, she's got a harder edge.
Yes, she does. Yeah, she has a hard edge, but she's still, you know, she's still her, you know, for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's not like she's not Rosa playing Alita playing Zen, is who she is in Play Dirty. You know, she's an accomplished actor, so she can, you know, she can pretty much play any part, I think. So,
yeah.
Well, Lee, there's only two of us, so I guess we got to do the call to action, I guess, and that'd be on my count of 3, 2, 1.
Film those sequels,
baby. So we will catch you next week on the Alita live stream, and we will see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita live stream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.